Hey there. It is Wednesday. It's hump day. It's middle of the week. It signifies for a lot of people the downward slope towards the weekend and having some time off. If you're one of those people, know that you don't have to live on that cycle of continually working Monday through Friday at a job that you don't love. But that is a topic for another conversation. If you want to go into that a little bit more, definitely message me and we can have that conversation. I'd be open to that with you and helping you find a different career change. But while I'm waiting for some of you to pop on, I have been working on a project of my own with my business coach, and it is creating creating a schedule for myself. And I'm of the mind now that I don't want to be scheduled. Like, I don't want to have to do this at this time and this at this time and this at this time. I just don't want to do that anymore. And so now I am trying to focus on only doing those things that people expect of me at certain times, like live at 5 or between 5 and 6 is when I come here weekdays. It's what fits my schedule. But making posts, I can make those throughout the day. Having conversations with people, I can have those throughout the day. And even like scheduling my yoga and my Bible study, because I realize that I'm behind in my Bible study compared to everybody else. And that's just because I didn't make it a priority. So writing those tasks down daily and then being able to check them off is going to be so beneficial for me. So that's one thing that I'm super excited about, is having this schedule, but not being conformed to a time frame to do it. So if I don't get something done in the morning, I could still do it in the evening, as long as it's done during the day is what's important for me. So just a little side note, something I'm working on, I'm always working on growing and changing and being the best version of myself that I possibly can be. So follow along for more tips and tricks about that, but that's what I have so far. Little known ways to get healthy without sweating. How many of you want to be healthy? Like, raise your hand. Tell me in the comments that, you're wanting to be healthy, but you don't want to sweat, right? Like, who feels me on that? Who wants to sweat? Who wants to get all gross and yucky and feel that way all day if they don't get to take a shower? I don't like to sweat. I don't. It is not something I enjoy personally, but I have learned to encompass that feeling in an appropriate time frame. Different subject. But how can you get healthy without sweating? Because we now know that I don't like to sweat. And so these are different ways that have been helpful for me and will probably be helpful for you. No, I know they will be helpful for you. So 1, limit your processed sugar. That sounds super simple, but when we get down to it, sugar can be found in a multitude of different places. So most of the time when people hear processed sugar, they hear don't eat candy, don't eat baked goods, especially from a store, don't eat homemade baked goods, don't eat, those are the top things that would come to my mind when I was told that. And anytime I talk to someone, those are the things they rattle off. Like, you can't have sweets, you can't have candy, you can't have this, you can't blah, blah, blah. But there are so many hidden sugars in different foods that we have in our homes. So in not just foods, but supplements as well. Maybe they're not a processed sugar, but they could be a sugar alcohol. So if you're trying to rid all sugars from your body, you're going to want to pay attention to those things and look for those sugar alcohols. Look for processed sugars. High fructose corn syrup is a big one that people always look for, but anything that, like xylitol, that's a sugar alcohol. And for those people who are trying to avoid all sugars, they want to be conscious of those. They're not all processed in the body the same, that much I know. But if you're looking to cut out sugars, just cut them out in general. And yes, it can be done and you can be successful at it. If you want more information about that, let me know. I have a couple links I can share with you. So number 1, limit processed sugars. 2, eat more vegetables that taste good to you. So in the beginning, start eating vegetables that taste good to you. Maybe your palate isn't there for kale or spinach, but you like broccoli, cauliflower, green beans, peas, carrots, those things. Eat those. Eat those for a week or 2 weeks. And then when you've run out of those ingredients, then I suggest that you bring in different vegetables. So maybe that's when you bring in the kale and the spinach and you put them in a salad or you put them in a soup. So they're blended. But bringing in different vegetables, parsnips. What are some other things that I've recently tried? Parsnips, rutabaga, different colored beets, different colored carrots, like eating the rainbow and, bok choy. Try all of those things that expand your palate. Super important. But eating more vegetables and limiting your intake of unhealthy foods, or maybe you're limiting yourself on dairy or gluten. So those are just some suggestions, but again, just more vegetables. And 3, eat from a smaller bowl or a plate. Now, I used to chalk this up as being kind of funny, but as I've went on my wellness journey, I'm finding this more and more true. So I always thought, well, I can't get as much on a plate. That's the point. If you use like the salad plate, or a lot of people used to call them saucers, but now they're more like a salad plate. They're a little bit bigger. They're not the size of a coffee cup saucer. But using that plate and filling that with your food is going to be helpful. Or even a cereal bowl. And cereal bowls typically should be only 1 cup. A traditional cereal bowl that comes with your dining set is typically more than that. It's anywhere from 2 to 2.5 to 3 cups can fit in there. So when you are pouring out cereal and it says, this amount of calories, nutrient content in that product, it's measured on what it says. So I know that when I used to eat Kellogg's chocolate flakes, whatever they're called, chocolate Kellogg's flakes, whatever, it was 3/4 of a cup. And you measure that out and then you put that in that bowl and it's like, that's not a lot of cereal. Like, that's not a lot of food in this little bowl or in this big bowl. So getting smaller bowls is helpful. We actually still have some of Nick's Gerber bowls. They're plastic Gerber bowls, and they're about the only plastic thing that I still have in my house as far as containers, storage containers. But we'll use that because it's 1 cup, and I know it's 1 cup and I've measured it. So we'll use those for fruits or cereals if we have them. Anything that needs measuring, or get a measuring cup out. Don't be afraid of that. But using a bowl that's smaller is going to help you as well. If you're eating something that would work better on maybe a bigger dinner plate, and you don't want to use a smaller plate because it's going to fall over that, like my Korean tofu bowl that I had for lunch today. Go check that out in my Instagram stories. There's a photo of that. But if that's something that for me, it would fall all over my little saucer. So I put that in a bowl, and I put the same amount I was allowed in my bowl. So that's just another suggestion, as well as eat from a smaller bowl or plate. 4, go for a stroll. Now, I'm not talking get on the shoes and walk really fast and break a sweat. I'm talking a stroll, a leisurely walk around the block, something to get your heart pumping. Or if you're like, stroll is sweating, stroll is exercise, ain't doing that, go outside, put your feet in the ground. Take off your socks and your shoes, put your feet on the ground. So many of us don't do that grounding on a regular basis. That's why it's important for us to be outside, because it will help us sleep better, it will help us feel better, and our mood will change just by being outside. So go for a stroll, take the kids after school, take a walk around the block. Maybe your kids go to a school in your town, and you stroll slowly to the school, you pick them up and you bring them home. That counts as movement, but not sweating. Get my drift. And number 5, drink more water. This goes without saying. Everybody pounds this one in, but it's so important. I don't know how many posts today I read about people feeling tired or hungry or this, that, and the other thing. And a lot of it's attributed to being thirsty and they don't get enough water in a day. And I know the adage is drink half your body weight in water, but for some of us, that's not possible. Could I physically drink it? Yes. Is it going to be good for my bladder? No, absolutely not. Not with, and a little TMI here, but this is part of who I am, with my pelvic organ prolapse, drinking more than 96 to 120 ounces of water a day is too much for my body to handle. And I can't let it out fast enough in different capacities. So drinking water and drinking good quality water. I've been doing some reading on quality water because it's been something that has come up time and time again on my health journey and my life journey. And I realized that even just drinking water out of the tap, even out of a well is better than city water, most definitely. But stuff still leaches into the water, even in a well. And they're not good things. Like, we do need minerals, but we're getting other toxins with them, medications. And I know that the water treatment plants are doing a better job of filtering things out, but there's still stuff in there. So there's lead, there's mercury, there's prescription drugs that are in there, all these unhealthy things, and then we're putting them in our bodies. And that can cause us harm as well. So my recent purchase, and actually it wasn't my purchase, it was a gift. Doug bought it for me for Christmas, was my Berkey filtration system. And it has been phenomenal. I use it for all of my drinking purposes. My family uses it for their drinking purposes. Occasionally I will forget to fill out of there when I'm cooking. But I can still use it for that as well versus using the tap water. And it has made such a difference in my water intake. Also, if you're going to filter your water, you're losing some of those good minerals. So you're going to want to replace those in your body. But anyway, the point was to drink more water. So there were 5 little known ways to get healthy without sweating. 1, limit processed sugar. 2, eat more vegetables that taste good to you. 3, eat from a smaller bowl or plate. 4, go for a stroll, not sweating. 5, drink more water. I hope this information has been very helpful for you. If you're liking what I'm sharing here, I invite you over to our Balanced and Successful Working Moms group, where we are having some serious conversations and currently working on helping ourselves change something that doesn't serve us for something that does. So for me, it's creating a life of wellness, and I'm doing that by eating well and exercising. Those are my ways of how I am making something that doesn't work for me. And one of the ways I do that is by giving up an hour of, actually, I realized I typically give up 2 hours in the morning from 6 to 8 o'clock. And I don't look at my phone very often. There have been some mornings where I have, for various reasons. But typically I don't scroll social media during that time. I don't use Pinterest, any of those things, because they're time wasters. Now, I think that there's an appropriate time to do that. And do I do that throughout the day? Absolutely. But for those 2 hours in the morning, I would just sit there and scroll until it was time to get ready for work. And instead, I could be doing some of the other things that are serving me, like yoga, Bible study, reading a book, spending time with my son before he goes to school. All of those serve me much better. So if you're interested in learning more, I will go back and put the link to the group in this video. But again, that's Balanced and Successful Working Moms. And you don't have to be a working mom any longer. Maybe you were a working mom, or maybe you're a dad. You're welcome to join our group and jump in on that current 30-day run. So with that, thanks so much for stopping by, guys, and y'all have a fabulous night. Bye-bye.